It's finally September, and you know what that means? It is officially spring here in the Southern Hemisphere. Goodbye, crappy cold weather. Hello, sunshine and rainbows and allergies, but we're focusing on the positives right now. In anticipation of this changing of the seasons, I've been working on a little something, a project I thought nicely captured the spring/summer vibes and most importantly used up the leftover yarn I've had sitting around since I finished my butterfly Howry. Before we get to that project though, I just want to give you guys a heads up that this video is going to be structured quite a bit differently than usual. The bulk of this project was filmed when my old lapel mic was on its deathbed and the audio just wasn't salvageable. I've done my best to improvise and work with what I've got because I didn't want all the effort I put into making this video to go to waste. The end result is just something that looks quite a bit different than my regular style, so I hope you enjoy this crochet journey nonetheless. Take a look at these colours. What's the first thing that pops into your head? Personally, I look at these colours and my brain immediately goes, watermelon. Delicious, delicious watermelon. But what sort of project did I want to make with these watermelon colours? As most of the clothing I've crocheted so far fell into the top/cardigan/jumper category, I sort of vetoed any upper body patterns. I wanted to try something new, and thus the idea for a watermelon skirt was born. This skirt would be created from the top down, which meant the first thing I needed to crochet was the waistband. Initially, I was going to make myself a single layer of ribbing to serve that purpose, but then I thought, you know what? Why not add some elastic to this bad boy? So I crocheted a piece that was double the height of my original waistband measurement because by doing this, I could then fold that band in half, allowing the elastic to rest in between the layers. Of course, I had to make sure the elastic would stay put, so when the waistband was finished and folded, I single crocheted the bottom together, leaving just enough space to insert my elastic, wiggle it all the way around the waistband using the good old safety pin trick, and then finally poke its little elasticy head out the opposite end. After that, it was time to break out the sewing machine, which I haven't used much in the last few years, which meant my sewing skills were a little bit rusty, which meant my sewing was incredibly dodgy and ugly. But who cares, because that's going to be hidden inside the waistband and nobody will ever know. Well, not unless they watch this video, I suppose. The final step of the waistband was to tuck the elastic away and single crochet the gap closed. The plan from here was to crochet the body of the skirt directly off the waistband, so no sewing for me. The first few rounds would include increases to give the skirt some shape. Editor's note, I probably should have added in a few more of these increase rounds, but too late now. And after that, I simply continued crocheting in the round using only my salmon-ish coloured yarn until I hit the point where I wanted to start adding in the watermelon seeds. Making those was simple but annoying. I chose to use one double crochet worked in black yarn to represent a single watermelon seed, and I spaced them out by roughly 12 or 13 stitches. Because I didn't want an excessive number of seeds, I mean, who likes an overabundance of seeds in their watermelon? Not me, that's for sure. Because I didn't want that, I crocheted 3 solid colour rounds in between each seed round, and honestly, I really liked the end result, so I'm glad I did that. 10 out of 10, very watermelon-y. And then it was basically rinse and repeat for what felt like weeks. Maybe the repetitiveness of these rounds made the project feel longer than it actually was, but in all seriousness, this comparatively minor bit of crocheting felt like it took forever. luckily that just fits in the frame. I'm going to call it there for the seed rows. I will add a couple of additional rows of just the orange yarn to give myself a bit of space between the seeds and where the rind part of the watermelon starts. So after I've done those couple, probably 2 or 3 rows of orange, I will then go on to doing the white, and then I'm only going to do that for maybe 1 or 2 rows, and then I'm going to do the green. Something I'm considering is adding 2 different greens to this skirt. I'll do the bulk of it in the lighter green, but I'm thinking the very last row might be a darker green. But A, I'll have to see if I have a dark green that matches well with this color palette. And B, I just don't know if it's going to look any good. So it might be something I try. I might do, 10, 20 stitches, see how it looks, and if I like it, I can continue. And if I dislike it, I'll just frog it and then call it finished with just the light green. Yeah, this is coming together quite nicely, and I think it'll actually be ready in time for spring. And here we are, 1 round to go. Well, maybe. I'm still not 100% convinced a darker green along the edge is going to look any good, but I'm going to try it. The only suitable green that I really had was this one here. I had to steal it from my Pokemon Blanket Cal yarn stash, but all the others, they just weren't the right shade of green. They looked a bit silly with the skirt. I'm going to give that a bit of a try. I might crochet 20 or so stitches, see how it looks, and I can either frog it and then this will be finished, or if I like it, I will continue on for 1 full round. I only ended up crocheting 15 stitches because even as I was crocheting this, I don't like it. I think this green, the most suitable green that I have, it's just a bit too dark, and I don't like how it looks with all the other colours. So I'm not going to add an extra row to this, or an extra round, I should call it. If I ever come across a more suitable green yarn, I can always add that final row if I want to. But for now, this is actually finished. I guess the only thing left to do now is to try it on. Thank you all for watching. If you got this far, consider subscribing if you haven't already, and I will see you all next week with another video.